everyone, and welcome to the Talkoffame podcast. Today I'm with Beatrice Pelliccia. If you don't know who Beatrice is, she's an actress and acting coach who was Lady Gaga's acting coach in the House of Gucci. I really appreciate Beatrice joining us for today's episode. We will dive into acting and kind of how to build yourself as an actor. Thank you so much, Beatrice, for coming on Talkoffame. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Of course. So, how did you get started in the acting industry?
Well, I guess it was almost my dream. Even when I was a kid, I just didn't know what it was, or even that it was a job or something that you could actually study and do. So I think that started really early in my life, but I guess I realized that I was probably in the business when I create my one-woman show. And at that point, I had to write the show, act in it, and it was a one-woman show, so you're basically alone on stage. And then you need to think about the music and the sound and the lights and everything, and in all of that, the character. That's the first thing. And I played Amy Winehouse, and in that moment I think I realized that something was actually true, in this business, true for me at least.
Ooh, that's amazing. How did you kind of handle that, one woman show? Because with having a woman show, it can be so much.
Yeah.
Doing writing your own sometimes scripts, being alone, memorizing lines. And for me, I'm like, oh, I can't do this. I need someone to help me. But how did you kind of handle all that? I'm sure it was pretty stressful, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually the process was I don't know, 2 years. I work for 2 years on this character, but I had a really great help, which was my acting coach, Susan Batson, and we create this one-woman show together. At the beginning, you basically start to research your character, everything that you can know about your character. Books, interview, people that know these people that you're actually playing, this person that you're playing. And that part is really the hardest one, because you need to be really careful when you approach a new life. It's not your life, it's something that you don't know, you never experience, and there is this person that you have to create, and that's really challenging. I went to London, spoke with some of her friends, the ex-husband, also a girl that she wanted to adopt when she was still alive. So this process was really heavy.
Ooh, I could imagine because with having to do so much process on kind of real life people, it just feels like you add so much pressure to really live up to the expectation of living out a real life person and trying to get as much research as you can to get it right. Because sometimes if you don't get it right, you're like, ooh, it just brings a lot of necessarily probably he is the best word for it.
Yeah.
What how you approach it.
Well, I'm trying to honor my character. I don't think there is a right or wrong, answer or decision that an actor can make, because they're so personal, some of the decisions that you make, the choices that you give to your character that nobody's going to know. But you do. And that's heavy on you, you know. So that's why I'm saying that, you know.
But what techniques do you kind of use to kind of help develop your characters your acting in?
I use the Susan Batson technique. I came to New York 7 years ago now to study with her. Um, I didn't know much about Susan 7 years ago, but I read something about her and I decided to study here in New York at her studio. Um, Her method is really interesting. Like, you build a human being. Like, you're not building an idea. You're not start playing a character with nothing inside of you, you know. you just you really need to create this person. So from the childhood that this person had before, you know. And this method really is about the truth. That's what I would say, you know.
Yeah, like how are you enjoying New York, by the way? Because I'm basically like love to visit New York since I'm only 2 hours away. I'm here because I like it's one of my favorite places to visit. But how do you like enjoy New York? Like, do you like it? Do you hate it? Like, how do you kind of like feel about New York?
I mean, New York is an amazing city, but it's also scary sometimes.
100%. Yeah. Like it
It feels
definitely can be.
big. Yeah, it feels so huge and big, and you can get lost any second, or in your life. That is something that I feel here.
Yeah, like it's just New York City is just so big that you can get lost any chance you get. Like you can get lost anywhere in New York City. Like when you're trying to maybe go to the Empire State Building, World Trade Center, or 9/11 Museum, like somewhere in New York, you just go
Yeah,
one
yeah,
turn, like the GPS said to go this turn, then you get it wrong. It's like
yeah.
it's
It
really
happen all the time.
yeah, I literally when every time I go to New York, I always get lost. So you're not alone in that one. But like, do you have like a dream like role? Like, do you have any like particular roles that you would like to do, or previous kind of move like oldie popular movies that you would like to be part of? If they like do like a what's the word for it? Like a reprise, like doing the movie again.
Ah, okay. Well, during these years, you know, as an actor, you think a lot about the roles that you want to play. And of course, there are a few things that I would love to play. But after I read this book, it's a Viola Davis book, Finding Me. And she wrote something about a character that they gave it to her, a script. And she said, at that moment, they gave me like a fried chicken. And I knew that I had to dig in like it was a filet mignon. When you think about that, you're like, oh, so every role can actually be a dream role,
Hmm.
because sometimes the script is amazing, the character that you can play is amazing, but something else is missing, or is the opposite. Everything is great, but the character, you don't really understand what is happening in the script, so you need to make a lot of choices there. So there isn't for me right now a dream role, but I would love to make every character that I play mean something.
Ooh,
That's
that's definitely a good answer. That is
well,
a good answer.
that's something that I'm really sure about, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Like that's honestly a really good answer. I love that you said that because not a lot of people really give that answer. From my experience, because everyone has like says like, "Oh, I want to be part of this role. Like I wish I was a part of that movie." But it's like every time you read a script or you're part of a movie, it does feel like a dream because you're playing that character and you're bringing this character to life. Because like even if you might not seem like a dream, you may be playing an actual person in real life. Is it like playing a real person or a real life story happens basically all the time in this industry. So really just really bringing that script to life and actually being part of an acting role does actually seem like a dream if you always wanted to be in this industry and you're getting a chance to kind of act something out. It probably if that makes sense.
yeah,
But
yeah, no, it does, yes. It's just that, like, you always create a human being. It doesn't matter how long your character is in the script, or like which words she use. She can be in silence all the time, but she's still a person. She still had some trauma, some happy moments, some things that happened to her life. And I'm like, there is no difference between that and a lead role.
yeah.
you
But
know
yeah, like last year you got to star in a movie called Fresh Kills. What
Right.
was kind of like the most challenging part for you about bringing the script to life?
Okay.
I know this is a very kind of challenging question.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Well, she she was an immigrant. She was an Italian woman, uh, came to Staten Island during the 80s. And she was angry. She was a really angry woman. But she also was really alone, you know. She was kind of abused, but like with words or like, bad words that other kids used to her at school, because she was new. Her English wasn't that great. So that was her story. And after I thought, well, that's what happened to me, but not during the 80s, but later, And because when I moved here, I didn't know any English. And that was, for me, was a nightmare.
Mhm.
Uh, it was bad. Like, you are in a place and everyone speak English, but you don't. You don't understand people. They cannot understand you. Someone is laughing, someone is not, of course. Someone is helping you. And that was her story too, but was different, you know. She
Mhm.
was different because she came to New York with her parents, so she had actually someone that she could come back home to. And that was another story, different than mine, because I moved here alone. But what was similar, what I really wanted to bring with this character, was how hard it is for another person to just move to another place without knowing anything,
Mhm.
and you're angry. You can be sad, you can be happy, you can be whatever,
Yeah.
but there is a reason. So I really try to find the reason that moved her to be like that.
Yeah, like I love like how kind of similar like the story and your life really kind of combine is when you come to like a city and you don't know the specific language. Because with America, like most of the land is English and Spanish. There's no Pacific language. And so
Right.
like when you come to a new city only knowing Spanish or English, either one, it can be very difficult being to try to connect with other people that do or do not know the language. And so
Right.
when we like come to a different place and trying to learn this skill, it can be very hard and like depressing being able to really meet new people and also trying to learn this language so I can communicate with other people and also not feel bad for myself for being this like for using this certain language or being born into this certain language.
Yeah, yeah, but it's still hard, is that's the truth. And but I believe that the character, they give me something and they also take something from me. It's a weird relationship. But she also taught me in a way that it's okay. You cannot judge yourself all the time because your English is not perfect. You cannot stop just because your English is not perfect. You can do actually things. You can learn, you can try, and you can sometimes be wrong. But that was probably the most challenging things. Be on set and be the one that wasn't. That it's kind of, she didn't have her space in this life.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Because like when you are on a set and like when you speak a different language, it can be very difficult. Because with my job at some points, like some people do speak Spanish, and like with my job, we give away food to people that are in need, and so with some people speak Spanish, and most of the people that I work with speak English, and so it's very hard to communicate with
Right.
people that are speaking a different language, which can be very difficult because it's like for me, I'm just like I want to communicate with those people, even though I can't understand. I do want to communicate. So sometimes I might need to use a Google Translate or something, to
Right.
help translate. But it's like I understand like where you're coming from. It's not understanding what people are saying, kind of feeling not left out, but by yourself in a way, just because you speak a different language from other people that you're around on set or something.
Right.
But like, do you like what kind of stuck out to you when you were reading the script?
Uh, I'm trying to, I mean, during the first reading, even the second, I'm trying to don't look for something. You know, I wait for the script to tell me something, because otherwise I'm afraid that I would, you know, use my life or the knowledge that I have to find something in the script, you know, that it's similar to me, that I can work with easily. And I'm like, no, it's not. I don't know this person, you know, so let's start from there. That I don't know who you are. We're probably gonna be together soon because I have to play you, but not now. So I'm trying to probably after a few times look for the little things, little behavior that make this character different. When she smiles, why she smiles like that, what make her cry, you know, what if I can see her favorite color in that, you know, for me is great because I can start to see her life, you know. So that's my first thing about the script. I want to see who she is.
Yeah, the best part really about being an actor, from what I hear from people that I talk to, is that like you get to learn so many things about people that if you were an actor, you probably wouldn't have the chance to do. Because with being an actor, you can play different people that are like actually from real life and also fictional that sometimes make you attached to actually be that person, but you're only being that person for a specific time.
Right.
Oh, it's like with being an actor, it's like the best thing to really learn about many people, but also kind of figure out like what is this person? Like how can I be like this person? Or like how is this person similar to me in a way, or to make me portray them in a way? Because like with each role, like you're learning something different each time. Like there's always ways to learn, even though you might have, let's just say, 20 years of experience, for example.
Right.
You know, like everything and every role is so much different that you're always learning like something different from each role that you get.
Yeah, because something, you know, it's always gonna be with you after the role, you know. You're gonna stop playing this woman or this man, and after it's over, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah,
That's
like over, you probably want to like do it again, you know? It's like only
yeah,
a period of time.
yeah, but for some reason there is always something that is gonna stay with you
Hmm.
know, even after months or years. um there is something that some of the characters that I played, they taught me during the years, you know, or they gave me during the years, and I didn't even know during that moment, you know, while I was playing them.
Yeah, and like with like you are also an acting coach besides like acting in movies and everything. Like if people are just starting out as an actor, like how can, like from your experience and advice, like how can people really grow as an actor?
That's a really hard question, you know,
Mhm.
because there is you know, there isn't a right answer, I guess. uh but I would say that if you really want to do this, there is not a plan B. You know, sometimes there, you know, I was the first one that actually did that. You know, I was in college, I was trying to you know, study a lot, but there was always um, this dream that was in the middle of my life, you know, in the middle of everything. And after I realized that's not a dream, like that's my only thing that I want to do, you know. So I would say don't waste time. Don't, you know, find excuses, because we do. But that's okay, you know. Like sometimes you don't want to do things, sometimes you're afraid, and that's okay because we are human beings. But if you really want to do that, I don't think it's something that you can stop. So
Yeah.
if you feel that thing in your stomach because that's where you feel it, well, you need to do it. But you need to do it hard, meaning study with the best teachers, study with the best coach, study with everyone actually, you know, um, because it's important that, you know, there are people that can feed you a technique, or they can feed you instruments, you know, that you can actually use when you are on set, on stage, during rehearsal, you know, during all this time. And in order to do that, you need to study. You need a lot of knowledge, you know.
Yeah, like knowledge is just so important because if you don't study, then how or gain knowledge and how are you like learning different stuff, you know?
Right, but that happened, sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, because that's disrespectful to the craft. That's a
Mhm.
craft. That's not a joke. So if you treat these as a joke, okay, but I don't. And a lot of actors, like the real actors, the real artists don't. That's why, I'm saying this because I didn't think of that. People m- so much better than me taught me that, and I was like, oh wow, that's actually true. Like,
Mhm.
that's a craft, and you need to know your craft in order to be able to have it in your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Like with being an actor, like if you love it so much, like you wouldn't think of it as a joke. Like it's just like with being an actor, like it really does feel like it doesn't if you like feel like a job. Like it feels like something that you just love to do that doesn't feel like a joke, like an actual job. It's something you like to do for fun when you have a chance. But it's like with
Do that too, like as a hobby, it's okay, but like if you're an actor, an artist, and you want to be that for the rest of your life, you cannot think about it. Just okay, I'm not gonna study. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna rehearse. I'm not gonna read 10,000 plays, theater play during my life. You cannot do that because otherwise you're like, what are you doing? Like it's so amazing everything that you can discover while you're studying that it doesn't feel that you're studying. That's why I'm saying that.
yeah,
Like you study everything as an actor. You need to know psychology. You need to know because you need social behavior. You need to see that in your character. You need to study animals because when you play a role, there is an animal work that every actor do. And so you need to know the animals. You need to know the food that your character is eating, when is eating that. You need to know what is reading your character, so you have to read those things. Like it's so much more than just studying. It's just having another life when you can discover other things that you didn't have time or you didn't have a chance to do with yours
mhm.
you know
Yeah, like you're right on that because like with studying, like you're learning like how to portray someone. Like how do you like be prepared for this role? Like what do I need to do? Like do I need to say psychology? Like how should I act? Like how do I like get into this character correctly? Because with studying, it doesn't feel like studying. Because like with well, it is studying, but it's like well, you're also learning different types of like acting you can use for your different roles. Because when you're acting, like you using your art and your craft to really put everything in your body to put in this character, which can be absolutely exhausting. I bet like can be absolutely exhausting, but it's also like you are using your craft and your knowledge from reading sources or talking to other people in this industry or how like depending on what type of things you like prefer and learning. But it's like everything like there's so much you need to learn to portray a character or how you should act in a moment.
yeah, there are so many things, and after there is the technique that you use. So you need to know that in order to technically build this other life so you don't get lost, because the emotional work, it's a lot. you
Mhm.
know and not because you're crying or not because of that, just because you are another person. You're building another person, you're creating a human being, and that's exhausting in a way.
Mhm.
But that's why you use the technique, because that's your role, that's your character, and you have the instrument to don't get lost.
Yeah. And like you got the opportunity to train Lady Gaga and Hasaguchi. Like what was it like working with her and train her?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was we work a lot, because we start 9 months before set, because again we had to build her character, the life of this woman, who she was, from when she was a kid all the way, you know, to now, because she's still alive actually. um and uh and that was really a lot of work, you know, but it was so easy, you know, to work with her, because she's a person that is so open, you know, it's open to learn, discover, play, you know, and that for an artist, it's amazing to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically to see like a singer-songwriter, like one of the biggest singer-songwriters in the world, like
Yeah.
want to learn acting and also willing to learn is something like you don't see acting because like with singer-songwriters and most of them want to stick with singing. They don't want to pursue anything else besides singing. But to see really Lady Gaga specifically do singer-songwriting and also acting and willing to learn both of the things is something like not what legendary, but also like an inspiration to other people that want to do both at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, there are people that can do different things and doing amazingly. So she's one of them. She can act, sing, you know, dance, and she creates, uh, and she's humble,
Mm-hmm.
you
Like
know.
that's the most
That,
important thing. As long as you're humble and everything, you're kind,
yeah,
then that's the most important thing. If you're not, then like it's like
your ego gets on the way, you know, and that's a problem if something like that happen, you know, for an artist. Uh, because I believe you can lose whatever is pure, you know, that you can actually have on stage with your characters, the way you create everything, you know, and that's something that I believe in.
I love that. And the last thing I have for you is what is some advice for upcoming actors that are just starting out?
Um, well, I'm, as I said before, I would say study, you know, like you really have to study, because that's not something that you can improvise, you know. And also, I don't think you can have plan A, B, and C, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like you want to do that, you want to pursue that, you really believe that, you feel that fire in you, well, you have to do it. But it's not easy. And it's never going to be easy, because even when you study and you know, you give all your life to acting, you do the role, it's amazing, it's great. And after you're so hungry for the next role that you're like, what is happening? Why nothing is coming here? You know, like what I did wrong, or, you know, and it's so it's to fight a lot. I would say that.
Yeah, because with being an actor, like it's so hard to get projects, especially as an actor. Like you're always dealing with rejection, right after rejection. That it can be like after rejections, after a long time, it just makes you more hungry for more. Like just give me some
Yeah.
more.
You don't give up, like you don't give up, because that's the only thing in your life that counts, you know. And that's why you fight, that's why you don't stop, even when it's hard, even when you don't have anything. But also you can create things, you know, like as actors we don't have to wait for somebody, you know. Of course that's great, but in the meantime we can also create something else, you know. And because beautiful things happen when artists get together and they create, you know.
Yeah, it really is something people because like with acting, actors they have something in common. Like with being an actor, they all have a passion for acting. And so when they come together, like the creativity really sparks and it's very something to be grateful for to be in a room with some like people that actually have the same common and passion as you do.
Yeah, because they feed you, you know, like, and that creates something, you know, in you. So create.
Yes. And thank you everyone for listening. That was the best way to end this episode off today. And I hope everyone enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I did. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, wherever you are in this world. I hope everyone enjoys their day. And thank you so much, Beatrice, for coming on. You're seriously amazing. I appreciate you coming on taking the time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much. You're great. Thank
Of
you.
course, thank you. Talk to
Bye.
you soon. Bye.